If you could see the world through my eyes, vibrant purple sunrise, shards of broken dreams come raining down.
Mark here, Life and Fitness Files. Make sure to like and subscribe. Today, we're going to be talking about our hip flexors, how to strengthen those, and how to help with anterior pelvic tilt or poor posture. So I have some other videos on anterior pelvic tilt, and due to things like sitting or just poor posture, our hip flexors can become really tight. So one way to counteract that is obviously stretching those, but another way is to directly strengthen your hip flexors. So we're going to talk about that today and show you a few ways that you can specifically strengthen your hip flexors to counteract some of that anterior pelvic tilt, which can lead to other things like back pain. So let's jump into it. So one of the exercises you can do is using a kettlebell. I'll show you some other exercises that you can do with bands. But with a kettlebell, ideally if you have something that you can step up on so you can get a full stretch on your leg that you're lifting the kettlebell with, that's ideal. But if not, this can still work. So if you're stepping up onto a box or some kind of stool, you're basically going to hook your foot into the kettlebell. And what you want to do is directly lift the kettlebell so that you are putting tension on your hip flexor, lifting that straight up and back down. Do not start with anything super heavy, and it doesn't need to be super fast. In fact, it's better to go up decent speed and come down slow and control that. You are going to feel your hip flexor here contract and come down. Contract, come down. Another secondary benefit is you're using your foot to hold the kettlebell. You're going to strengthen your lower leg as well in the process. But flexing that hip flexor here, up, down, and by standing on the stool, you're able to get that full stretch so that you can extend that all the way down, up, and back down. Do that on both sides. You can do 3 sets of 5 to 8. Start with low weight. You can do even 5 pounds, even less. You could even do it with no weight to get used to that. It might even take a little bit of time to balance. So first exercise, using a kettlebell to strengthen your hip flexor. Next, we have these short bands that we see people use for doing different leg exercises. So this is a different way you can use that band. So in this, you would hook this band under your foot that you're not going to be lifting and hook your other foot inside, if I can actually do it. And you're essentially doing the same thing that you did with a kettlebell, but your resistance is coming from the resistance band. So as you come up, you're going to reach that. You're not going to get as much of a flex because there's not tension as you go all the way down to the ground. However, this can be helpful as you get up into that upper flexed position. You can do an isometric hold, pull, down, pull, hold, down. You can hold it for longer. This is probably too tight of a resistance. If I were to choose, I would probably choose something that has a little more flexibility so I could get it a little bit more range of motion. But hold, and you can feel that. Hold, come down. That isometric hold is going to build strength. You can definitely feel it. So hooking band under one foot to stabilize, using your other foot to flex that hip flexor. Then you can do that on both sides. Hold. Going to definitely build strength in your hip flexor. And last but not least, you can use a band that's anchored to a wall, to the bottom of a desk, to the bottom of a shelf. Another thing that you could do is get a Velcro strap for your ankle, and you can do this with cable pulls at the gym. But essentially, have one leg up, and you want to put tension on the leg that you are working with the band or the cable, And you're essentially doing the same thing you did with the kettlebell, except we're laying down. So I'm going to pull, hold, control that eccentric back. You're working this hip flexor, controlled back. You're going to feel that, and at first it's not going to be easy. You don't want to start with a heavy band or heavy weight if you're using a cable, but this band works just as well as going to the gym using fancy equipment. I have mine anchored to the wall. I have another video on setting up your own wall anchors, but I use bands a lot. Moves like this help work some of these muscles that we can easily forget about, working these hip flexors. This is going to help things like anterior pelvic tilt, which can in turn help our back, but it can also help things like running, form, or even stability in the gym. So there you have it. Hopefully this helps you to build some of your hip strength, which can counteract things like anterior pelvic tilt, which essentially can help with some of our lower back pain if that's something that you battle with. This can also help us with running form, as I mentioned, and help us with overall stability. As we age, we are going to lose stability, power, strength, and muscle in general. So the more we can build strength in different muscles, upper and lower body, the better off we're going to be. Hip flexors are an area that we use often, but we don't focus on building strength in that area. So these are some ways to help you to build strength with kettlebells or bands to help you with functionality, stability, and overall mobility. Hopefully this video helped you on your fitness journey. Make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with content. Here's to life and fitness.
Afraid of what you might lose, walking miles in someone else's shoes.